One of the great pieces of Negro Leagues uniform design that I have always loved is KC Within a Heart. We are in the heart of America here in Kansas City. The Monarchs wore this heart on their sleeves. Wore their heart on their sleeves.
Literally wore their hearts on their sleeves.
1942?
Yes.
1941-42.
Yes. The Kansas City Monarchs are one of the greatest baseball franchises, not in black baseball history, but in baseball history. One losing season in their almost 40-year existence in the Negro Leagues, Todd. Wow. They sent more players to the major leagues than any other Negro League franchise. They were a model organization. There are those who will say that the Kansas City Monarchs were the New York Yankees of the Negro Leagues. There are others who will say that the New York Yankees were the Kansas City Monarchs of the major leagues. They were that good, the Negro League's longest running franchise. And so there's obviously great pride here in Kansas City, and particularly here in this space as it relates to the legacy of the great Kansas City Monarchs. So you had Satchel Paige, the great Hilton Smith, whom Buck O'Neil would say had the greatest curveball he ever saw. Monty Irvin would say that his curveball was so good that you could know it was coming. And this is Hall of Famer Monty Irvin.
Right.
Said that it was so good that you could know it was coming, and the break on the ball was still so sharp you couldn't hit it. Willett Brown, Hall of Famer. Josh Gibson nicknamed him Home Run Brown. Now, if Josh Gibson nicknamed you Home Run Brown,
that's pretty good.
You got some power.
Yeah.
And of course, Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson would begin his illustrious career right here in Kansas City with the great 1945 Kansas City Monarchs. And it's interesting, Todd, that a lot of people did not know that Robinson's illustrious career did indeed begin in the Negro Leagues. I think they think Jackie just walked out of nowhere and started playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. But his real rookie season, right here in Kansas City. As Buck O'Neil would say, Jackie was different than they were. They were acclimated to segregation. Not Jackie. Jackie was L.A.
Right.
And so when he comes to the Monarchs, life was very difficult for him dealing with Jim Crow South in particular. And Buck O'Neil tells a great story that was told to him by Hilton Smith. The Monarchs had been going to a filling station in Muskogee, Oklahoma for years, and they had never used the restroom because the sign on the door said, for white men only. And this is Jackie's first trip into Muskogee. And they pull up at the gas tank. The attendant puts the tank in, puts the hose in the tank. Jackie gets off the bus and he starts walking toward the restroom. The attendant says, "Boy, where you going?" He says, "I'm going to the restroom." He said, "Boy, you know you can't use that restroom." Jackie's response was, "Take the hose out the tank." Now, as Buck would describe, the attendant thought about this for a minute. The Monarchs got a 50-gallon tank on one side. They've got a 50-gallon tank on the other side. They're not going to sell that much gas to any one customer until the Monarch came back. You know what the attendant said? He said, "You boys go on to the restroom, but don't stay long."
What always strikes me about looking at Negro Leagues uniforms is the fact that they've got a little sizzle, a little bit of sauce. There's some marketing involved, perhaps, in a way that many major league teams at the time, again, all major leagues now, the Negro Leagues are major leagues. American National League teams at the time did not necessarily employ. But this is a great looking jersey over here, and certainly the cap that you are holding has great, great significance and some love attached to it.
Well, it's really interesting that the Negro Leagues brought a level of brilliance to the uniforms. Perhaps it matched the style and the flamboyancy in which they played the game. And don't get it twisted. They played great, fundamentally sound baseball, but they understood that the game was entertainment. So when you went to a Negro Leagues game, you are going to be thoroughly entertained. Now, the major leaguers would frown, and they would say, well, you know, they don't play the game the right way. They're disrespecting the game. They're showboaters. And as Buck O'Neil would say, number one, if you got something to show, show it. Number two, it's only showboating when you can't do it. And so the uniforms, it matched the style of play. They brought color, no pun intended, to the way that they played the game, and the uniforms matched that. And so these are beautiful pieces that absolutely capture the winning spirit of the Negro Leagues. That's why we're so excited about this.